beauty of limiting beliefs is this. They are just beliefs, they're ideas. You might believe that tomorrow morning you're going to wake up and go to the seaside, and then it's pouring down with rain, and suddenly you're not going. Well, you still could actually, but you see what I mean? You had a belief that's what you're going to do, but it's an idea. I remember years back now working with a guy who, when I say working, we were both running part of the same workshop weekend, and he was talking about how up until the age of 15, which I find amazing, he was younger than me, up until the age of 15 he still believed in Santa, and they had a family, a big family, and so at Christmas one year they all decided to descend on a hotel. You know, when you go and it's entertainment, your food's all sorted, you just mix, mingle and catch up, and so that's what they did. There was uncles, aunts, grandparents, everyone was there, cousins, you name it. And they'd had a nice meal Christmas Eve, and it was time to go to bed. The entertainment was probably still happening, I don't know. And anyway, he went to his room and he was hanging his stocking up for Santa, because Santa even comes to hotels. And he was hanging his stocking up, and his cousin walked past and he would say goodnight. And as he went in, saw the stocking, and he said to this guy, "Oh, lucky you, you've got a stocking this year. Mom and Dad can't afford it because we're here." In that moment, a belief that he had held and believed solidly for 15 years ended. Like that. With a few lines, a few sentences, took that belief and dismantled it. He went from believing 1 minute to not believing the next. And you can do that with your limiting beliefs. So how do we do that? First of all, we identify them. Now, I've talked about that in the last video. So there are many, many ways that you can identify your limiting beliefs. Basically, if you find yourself saying, "I can't," or there's something you want to do, but you come up with an excuse or a reason for why you cannot, whatever that excuse or reason is more than likely holding your limiting belief. And you can, have a notepad, limiting beliefs that I am changing. And anytime you come up with one and it's holding you back, jot it down so you know what it is. It's there. It's not there if it's on the paper for a start. So, once you've identified a limiting belief, let's go with, I'll use my example with writing this book. I can't write this book. I do not feel qualified enough. So write it down. And then very simply question it. What is qualified enough? I've done 10 years worth of training. I learn something new every year. I read books. Is that not qualified enough? So do you know what I did? I went online and I messaged a few people, not in the area, and just said, "Hi, thinking of having help with you, coaches and therapists and things. What qualifications have you got?" And there were people who literally had done a course and they were practicing. I thought, well, I'm more qualified than them. And then I looked and I found one or two people who had written books, who'd been in practice less time than me and done less training than me. So I'm definitely more qualified for them, and their books were doing quite well. So all of a sudden it's like, why couldn't I? And actually, I've done this training. I've also been in practice, and what happens when you're in practice is you do your training, you learn the principles, the fundamentals, and you make it your own. And I've had 10 years of finding my own way of working with the stuff I've learned. That's still evolving, that's still growing. Suddenly, my argument of I'm not qualified enough to write this book didn't exist. And then you get ghostwriters. You get those books tend to be getting through book clubs and things. And it's never been written by somebody that's an expert in that field. It's just somebody who's researched it because they were paid to write a book about something. Well, they definitely weren't qualified, but there are a lot of books out there like that that have really sold a lot. So write your limiting belief down and then question it. If it's people like me do not deserve this, look at people who have that thing that you want. Look at their life stories. I remember talking to someone the other day, I'm not qualified enough. Tends to be quite a common one. I'm not qualified enough to run my own business. And you go, well, you know, some of the top business people, those people like Richard Branson, they had no qualification to do it when they started. Look at them now. Take limiting beliefs, question it, find, basically, is it fact? Is it fact that I cannot do this? So let's think of another one. Okay, in a few weeks' time, from when I'm recording this, obviously, my brother has invited me to go up Snowdon with him and the kids. I'm taking the not daughter, and so we're going to go up Snowdon. I've done it before, so I know I can do it. But let's imagine I have not. Maybe I'm you, and you think, I'd love to go up Snowdon. It must be amazing. The view off the top is stunning. Well, on a clear day. So maybe thinking, I can't do that. I can't go up Snowdon because I'm not fit enough. I can't go up Snowdon because I can't walk that far. And admittedly, if you were to wake up tomorrow morning and try and go up Snowdon, you may struggle. You might surprise yourself, actually, but you may also struggle. And with something like a big mountain, it's not advisable to go up if you're completely unfit. But I cannot go up Snowdon yet suddenly reframes that limiting belief. Rather than going, that's it, I can't do it, you're going, yet. Because actually what I could do is I go, right, in 6 months' time, I want to go up Snowdon. So I'm going to start going out. I'm going to walk around my block for the next 2 to 3 weeks. And then I'm going to extend the walk. And then I'm going to start once a week doing a walk up some hills. And then by the time that 6 months is gone, you're more able and capable to do it. Rather than just buying into a limiting belief of, I cannot do it yet. So look at your belief and challenge that belief. Gather evidence. Try to prove to yourself that you cannot do that. And you'll find that you can. Our beliefs, our limiting beliefs, will crumble when we present them with the facts. Another example, my partner a few years back before we met had wanted to go to a music festival. And she's got friends now who go, oh, I wish I could do that. I can't do that. And she thought, why? And they're like, I mean, it was over in Europe, big, you know, so it was a big investment, time, money. And she was like, I'm going to do this thing. I don't quite know how. And that's different to not being able to do it, because you can learn how. So she saved up the money bit by bit. She spoke to people she knew who were going and said, look, I've never done that kind of traveling before by myself. Can I tag along with you guys? And she did it. She got there. She made that happen. But there's other people who know, oh, I can't do that. Oh, I don't have the money. I don't have the money. These people will be down the pub every weekend, there's nothing wrong with that, you know. But they're saying, I haven't got the money. Well, I mean, £5 a pint on average now. So if you half the amount you drank and started saving that money up, you can do it. But it's about reframing it. It's about taking and challenging your limiting belief. What is this? Therefore, you know, when you do that, you begin to discover that you can do things. Your limiting beliefs crack away. One of my long-term ones, again, coming back to the book, and in general, was that kind of not feeling good enough, not feeling qualified enough, maybe like I've had enough experience, and yet I've got a book, it's here in front of me on my desk, and in it I write. I never put the names of who it was, but I write every bit of feedback that I get from people that thanks me for the work I do. And part of getting this book out was going through that and going, but look, there's all these people that are saying, I've helped. If I wasn't good enough, I wouldn't have that feedback. So, step one of breaking your belief: identify it, challenge it, and question it. Find the facts and the reality of the situation. You need a new car. I can't get a new car. Well, you can't maybe tomorrow, but you can start saving for 3 months' time, right? You get how I'm thinking? Good. So once we've done that, once we've identified that limiting belief and we've pulled it apart, basically do a Sherlock Holmes on it, investigate it, pull it apart. You'll realize that it doesn't hold up. It doesn't stand up. I mean, I'm never going to be able to fly without an airplane, maybe is true. Certain things. But certain things you wouldn't want to try anyway. So identify, investigate, challenge, pull it apart. Secondly, once you've got that and you've pulled it apart, you've identified it. So let's go with, I don't know, I'm not good enough to do X, Y, or Z, whatever that is. Next, you reframe it. Take that statement that you're giving yourself, that limiting belief, and change it. So, yeah, you might not be capable of, let's go for a new career. You might not be capable of just stepping into a new career, a new job. However, you are capable of learning and beginning to develop and gain the skills you need to, in X amount of months or a year or so's time, make that change. So rather than going, I can't do this because I don't know how to, you start saying to yourself, I am learning X, Y, Z, so as I can do this in the future. You see, the same situation, but you're just reframing it, changing the way that it looks and appears to you. I don't have the money. I don't have the money yet. Or I am putting away little bits of money so as I can. I can't go up Snowdon. I can't go up Snowdon yet. And maybe for some unknown reason, maybe you have some sort of injury, disability that means that actually physically you could not do that walk. There's a train. Of course you can get up there. There are ways. There are always ways. I'm scared. I'm aware of some of the challenges here. Take your limiting belief, identify it, challenge it, pull it to pieces, and then reframe it. Rephrase that sentence, rephrase that idea into an idea that works for you. Does this idea hold me back, or does it allow the possibility? And you want to phrase it so it allows the possibility for you to go and live a more fulfilling life. So when it comes to anxiety, first of all, I'm anxious. Well, actually, it's not possible to be anxious all the time. I've worked with people who go, I'm always anxious. But it's not actually possible. It's not actually physically possible to be permanently anxious. So even if you feel like you're anxious all through the day, when you go to sleep, and actually most people I've worked with, when they say, oh, I'm anxious all the time, you go, okay. You're anxious now. And some will go a little bit. Some will go, no. Some will go, yes. Because obviously, especially if you're starting coaching or hypnosis or whatever to help you overcome that, then, but also, chemically in your brain, anxiety is the same as excitement. The only difference is what you're telling yourself about it. So actually, are you anxious, or actually excited? Stage fright, is it butterflies, anxiety, or is it excitement bubbling away because you know you're about to come and do that thing? You get what I'm saying? Identify, pull it apart, examine, challenge, and then reframe. When it comes to anxiety, you're not going to live with it all your life because you cannot. Problem is, when we have bouts of anxiety, a little bit, remember I said about the car, and you buy that new car and you haven't seen any up until that point, but then every other car seems to be that car, right, when you're driving it home. That's because there's a part of your mind that's choosing to focus in on that now. Same with anxiety. One of the things with anxiety is that people that have that habit, and it kind of is a habit, something we do, if you've been challenged by it for a while, it can become easy to just focus on those moments that you feel anxious. But actually, when you start looking at it, you discover that, well, actually, no. I've had a real good laugh with a friend the other day. I wasn't feeling anxious then. And, oh, do you know what? We went out for that meal the other night, and I noticed, actually, I've got home, I felt really relaxed and really good. And suddenly, start to tune your mind in more to those moments in life where you're not anxious all the time. And the more you challenge your beliefs. And you can't say I'm going to be anxious all my life because you haven't lived all your life yet. So that falls apart straight away. Play with it. And I do say play with it. Play with it. Have fun doing this stuff because it makes you feel good. See you in the next video. Take care.